Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Talent Finders would like to welcome CEO of Sports Ed TV, an entrepreneur all the way out of Miami, Victor Bergonzoli. So, welcome, Victor.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you for having me.
So, Victor, I'd like to congratulate you on all your achievements. Can you share with us how your entrepreneurial journey started?
Well, with great pleasure. It started very young, actually. When I was 14, I started, picking up flowers from a flower shop in my small village and selling them uh, on weekends. So I've always had this entrepreneur spirit. Then I had different businesses when I was in high school, and I think it's part of your blood or not, and you're born and made an entrepreneur. So that's how it started very early.
Amazing. So you always had a passion for sports, but before you embarked on your entrepreneurial journey, you worked for some very big companies, so Credit Suisse and Swisscom. So what made you decide to relinquish your role or roles there and follow your sports genes and passion to lead Dartfish, the company you co-founded? And can you tell us more about that?
Sure. So when I finished, college, I went to work for Credit Suisse, and I was in corporate banking.
Yes.
And I think it's good for anyone who, finishes university to go work for a big firm for a while, because
Yes.
you learn processes, you learn discipline. And I like corporate banking because I was giving loans to many entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So always close to entrepreneurship. And then I joined Swisscom, and that was an entrepreneurial role because very quickly I went to India, and I was the country manager for Swisscom in India, where we had to establish the first telecommunication network, and that was from the ground up. So
Wow.
again, even if it was for a big corporation, what you realize is very often you work for big corporations, but you're part of a smaller team. It's not that you're part of 50,000, you're part of 50,000 people, but everybody works in different smaller teams anyway.
Yes.
So when I was in India, I spent 2 years there, and one of my colleagues showed me what his brother had invented. And if you recall at the Olympics, seeing the two skiers overlaid on top of each other, it's called simulcam. He showed that to me, and technology and the dream, that was in 98, sorry. In 98, the dream of, all these .com companies starting, I said, I'm in. So we decided to create Dartfish. It was called In Motion Technologies first, and then we renamed it Dartfish. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. So having worked in the corporate world, and then going on your own, do you believe this gave you an advantage? And what would you say you do better within your own businesses?
So it gives you an advantage if you can learn from good people in the corporate world.
Yes.
It depends on who your bosses are and who you work with.
Yes.
And what I learn are good processes. What is important is if you have a good process, if you learn how to work with people as well, because when you work in the corporate world, usually they have more means than a young startup. So you learn to work, within certain processes and with teams. So that gives you an
Yes.
advantage. It's like really an apprenticeship. Then when you start your business, sometimes you have to have multiple roles. It's different. You have a hat. Sometimes you do marketing, sometimes you do sales, sometimes you are going to do support. So you have to have different hats. And working in a corporate role where you work with different people from different divisions, you can grab this and apply it to your new business.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I would say it is an advantage, but it's not a necessity.
Yes. And then, so what do you feel having gone through those experiences and now being in your own business, what do you feel you do better? Like just in terms of the way you approach things or your communication with the people you work with? Like what are some of the examples that you could maybe
The,
give
the,
us?
Sure. The main advantage when you're on your own, and I mean, really, you're never on your own, because when you start your own business, you have to find investors. Can be angel
Yes.
investors, can be VCs. So you always report to someone. It's not that
Yes.
you have, carte blanche and you do whatever you want, unless you're really starting your garage and you're the sole, investor, and you do whatever you want. But in this case, you're always accountable. But in
Yes.
any case, the main big difference is speed. As
Yeah.
as a young company, as a small company, if you have an idea, the time to market, the fact that it can sometimes in a week you implement a new project, and in a week, you can already test on the market if the
Mm.
project or the product is good, which
Yes.
is very, very rare, for big corporations. What you see is big corporations are more led by managers and less by entrepreneurs. And
Yeah,
I think that's
true.
the
True.
difference that you have is, and a lot of bigger corporations are afraid of trying something new.
Mm.
You have your job, you make a good amount of money as a manager in a big corporation.
Mm.
You're not paid to take risks. You're paid
No.
to do what you're supposed to do. And
Mm.
very often, if it's a public corporation, they're always judged over the past 3 months. So every 3 months you get judged. That's what happened.
Mm.
What happens with big corporation. So it gives you, it takes away, unfortunately, this entrepreneurial spirit that they should have. And that's the reason
Yes.
why the startup ecosystem, and what you see is a lot of the risk takers, people who think outside the box, leave their comfort zone, go become, create a company. And if the company is successful, then the bigger corporation are going to buy them out. That's what you see usually.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say some of your biggest lessons have been within your career? And you probably had multiple, but what is the one that really stands out for you? Or can you give us any examples?
Sure. The first one is listen. When I started, I was much younger,
Mm.
and you believe when you're young that you know everything.
Oh, 100%.
Yes, and people don't know
Yeah.
what they don't know. That's the
Yeah.
challenge. And
Yeah.
the more experience you gain, the more you realize, wow, there's a lot of things I didn't know back then. So I always
Mm.
tell young entrepreneurs, listen. And
Mm.
if you can find people who are in their 60s
Mm.
and have done it and can give. Have you seen the movie with Robert De Niro, The Intern?
Yes, I have.
That's a great movie because it
Yeah.
shows that this guy is old, but he has done it and seen it. And if you can merge the youth and being dynamic of a young entrepreneur
Mm.
together with all the people, then you have a winning, combination. So listening is the big part that I learned. At the
Mm.
very beginning, I was not a great listener.
Mm.
Now, when I'm in a meeting, I try to speak only 20% of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So you and your expertise are well known in the sports media and business technology communities. So was this an organic transition for you, or was this driven more by your passion within the space? And can you share with us more about
Sure.
this?
I've always been a tech nerd, so I like to
Mhm.
to try new thing when technology is out. When
Yes.
ChatGPT came out, I was one of the first ones to try it and play with it. So I love. I've always loved technology as a whole.
Yes.
I mean, I went to work for a cellular company implementing the first cellular network in India. When everybody had fixed time. So I
Mm.
I really like that.
Yes.
Now, sports. When I was 12, I started weightlifting in Switzerland. At the age of 14, I was in the top 10 as a junior. So
Wow.
sports brings you, competition. Sports
Yes.
brings you discipline. So I've always been extremely active in my life. I was a captain in the army, in the Swiss army. I walk every day, at least 10, 15 kilometers. I work out every day. So sports gives you, I believe, especially when you're young, gives you the discipline to do a lot of good things in life. So
Yes.
the
And it's
combination of
collaborative too.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So it can be. I mean, weightlifting was not a team sport, but I play soccer as well,
Mm.
and you learn to work as a team. But
Yes.
even in the individual sports, very quickly, I had to go 4 times a week, take the train by myself at the age of 12, take a bus, to take 45 minutes to go work out after school,
Mm.
come back in the evening, and do that 4 times a week for many, many years. It
Mm.
gives you a discipline for a regimen that a lot of people who don't do sports don't have, and
No.
especially these days with all these games, people
Mm.
stay home, don't do that. And then you're part of a team. Even if it's an individual sport, you have a coach, you have your peers, you support each other, you help each other. And these
Yeah.
are great benefits. So to come back to your question, technology combined with sports, and sports is a huge market.
Yes.
It was, I was, 30, and I saw this opportunity as creating something big that can change the world. That was
Mm.
important to me, and that's what we wanted to do with Dartfish, and
Yes.
and change the world for the better. That's important.
Y-
So that's the reason I said yes. And
Amazing. Amazing. So with that, what would you say some of your biggest career highlights have been? And I mean, again, you've probably had multiple, but what is the one that stands out the most for you?
well, my Indian experience was amazing. That was one that I really cherish a lot. Spending 2 years in New Delhi and visiting this country from top to bottom. I went
Mm.
to the north, I went to the south, dealing with very bright people in India who are amazing business people. But when you spend 2 years in India, it's like spending 10 years somewhere else. And
Yes.
it's just that's one of the big highlights. The second
Amazing.
one is after creating Dartfish, and seeing that at one time 70% of the medals were won by people using our technology. So
Wow.
I recall several Olympics, but one in 2010 in Vancouver. I'm at the Canadian House, and a skeleton gold medalist looks at me, and he sees a Dartfish logo on my shirt, and he's like,
Mm.
"Oh, are you with Dartfish?" And I said, "Yes, I work with Dartfish." And he shakes my hand, gives me his medals on my neck, and he says, "I wanted to thank you because without you, I would not have this medal today." So
Wow, that's
when you do
amazing.
that, that's a big highlight. So that's
Yes.
the second big highlight. And the last one as an entrepreneur is the creation of Sports at TV, but I know we'll come back to that later.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, obviously, just referencing to Dartfish, what was the inspiration and motivation to start this company, bringing in all aspects of tech, sport, and media? And can you share with us more about the company and what problems and opportunities would this create within your market?
Sure. So we have to go back in time. That was 99, early 99.
Yes.
What we realized is, very few people were still, were filming. And when the key milestone, an important factor when you're coaching is
Mm.
communication.
Yes.
What we realized is there's a big gap between what an athlete perceives, or her perception,
Mm.
and coach's observation. Big gap. I felt I did this, and the coach is something different, and then they try to communicate, and it doesn't click. And
Mm.
we say an image is worth 1,000 words, but I believe a video is worth 1,000,000 words, right?
Absolutely.
So what we saw is basically a lot of needs for all the coaching community to be able to communicate with the athletes. So a
Mm.
few were filming back then, and the first DV cameras were coming out. If you
Mm.
remember these, with the little tapes, they were
Yes.
pretty expensive. They were pretty expensive, and it was only for the top teams, the top Olympic teams, the top football teams.
Mm.
People were filming, when they could, but a lot of sports were not. So we decided, okay, what if we democratize the access of technology to be able to help them not only film, but analyze what they film from a
Yes.
team perspective or from an individual perspective. And that was an amazing challenge. So what I did is in 2000, I went to the US Olympic Committee. I sat down with them and I asked the question you should never ask is, what do you need?
Yeah,
I
that's a
spent
very
3
loaded
days.
question.
I spent 3 days with them, came back with 20 pages,
Mm,
and we were ready for that was 2000. And then we had the Salt Lake City Games in 2002, and we had a product that was used intensively by the US Olympic Committee and a lot of federations. Yes,
amazing.
yes,
So from that, you expanded even further and have now become the CEO of Sports Ed TV, which is a digital ecosystem of sports instructions and knowledge, expanding your entrepreneurial reach. So when did the transition from Dartfish to Sports Ed TV take place? And can you share with us more about the platform and the purpose? And what is the long-term vision for Sports Ed TV?
yes. So in the world, we have over 2 billion people playing sports at any level.
Yes.
It can be I play golf and I want to beat my brother-in-law, or I have my 6-year-old playing lacrosse and he's going to be the next champion in 15 years, or playing high school, or pickleball players, etc., etc. So you have people in the world play sport. It's actually the biggest market, sports market, in terms of dollars spent.
Oh,
It's
absolutely,
$300
100%.
billion a year. But that was not, I mean, it's important when you create a business that the size of the market is big. But more importantly, is when people are trying to learn or they are seeking help, they don't always go to a coach. If they find a good coach, good, that's the best.
But
But
that
at the
also
same
costs
time,
money, and some
yes,
people don't have that.
and what they do is they go on YouTube, they go on TikTok. TikTok is pretty new. They go on Instagram. They find a lot of videos that are pretty well done. The challenge was, how do I know if what I see online is correct, done well? And I experienced that with my son when he started playing lacrosse at the age of 6, 7. I found a video on YouTube that had been played 1,000,000 times. So I'm like, 1,000,000 views must be good. I sent that to his coach, and his coach said, "No, don't do that. This is horrible." I'm like, "How am I supposed to know? There's 1,000,000 views.
Yeah.
It must be good." He's like, "No, don't do that." I said, "Okay, can you send me something else?" He's like, "Yes, I will." And of course, they don't. So we said, "Okay, what if there's a place where all the videos, we know they are good because there's a stamp of approval?" So we decided to get the best coaches for the sports we covered, and our goal is to go up to 40 sports minimum, and find these best talent, and create videos that are broadcast quality, because it's important. Nowadays with a cell phone, everybody's a producer, but I believe in quality. That's what we decided to do. So we started creating this library. We have more than 1,500, 1,800 videos now, professionally produced.
Wow.
That was the first step.
Yeah.
Then we said, we're going to add to this content with wonderful blogs. So we found, we have more than 350 senior contributors on the platform, people who know their subject. Can be nutrition, can be mental health, can be parenting, can be sport specific. And again, here we publish, blogs every day on the platform.
Yes.
That's the content part. So the content is, you go on Sports Ed TV, and if you are a mom, you play pickleball, your son plays soccer, your daughter plays volleyball, and your husband plays golf, you go to one place, and this place is safe, and you can learn, and that what you're learning is correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really on the content part. Then we realized that there's a need to be able to make friends. Social media exists for many reasons, but one is you want to be connected with people with
Yeah,
see
like-minded people.
hobbies. So we decided we're going to add this component. So you can subscribe, register on Sportsnet TV, which is
Mm,
free, and then you can find people who play the same sport in
mm,
your city or in your country. You can look at their age, or they can look at their level, and
mm,
you can become friends with them. So
mm,
that's the second big part of it, and we are adding a lot of functionalities for help for them to have an easier life when they learn sports. And again,
mm.
at any level, we are not here to create champions. We are here to help.
Yes, of
And the
course.
last part is the marketplace. We call that discover. So if a coach is offering services, or if you want to buy a product that's going to help you in your sports journey,
Mm,
go on Sportsnet TV Discover. So under one roof, you have content, a community, and you have a marketplace where you can find products or coaches that are here to help you. Our
that's
goal is really
amazing.
to help, and our goal is really it's free. I mean, there is a paid service if you want to do more, but our goal is really to give access and help all these 2 billion people in the world be better at their sports. And what we have seen is we have a lot of, we have a lot of people in some continents, like in Africa or in Asia, they don't have, and you're from South Africa, so you'll appreciate, but they
Yes.
don't have necessarily the money to get good coaching. So they
Mm,
are very happy to have Sportsnet TV.
absolutely. It's amazing.
Thank
So
you.
I want to talk about leadership or the lack of leadership from both a business and global perspective. So what do you believe makes your leadership style different? And can you give us any examples? And then, segue to that is, what do you believe needs to change the current narrative from both an entrepreneurial and global perspective in terms of leadership?
I believe in leading by example.
Yeah.
So I believe if I ask you to do something, I should be able to do it myself.
Mm.
Not, I mean, I should not ask someone to do something that I'm not willing to do.
Oh, 100%.
I'm not saying
100%.
that that's the first thing. So, but a lot of leaders don't do that. They don't lead by
No.
example. You look at my life, and it's pretty straightforward. If I behave a certain way, I'm not going to preach something else. So that's the first thing is lead by example,
Mm.
and then delegate. That's very important. And if you
Yes.
delegate, just accept the consequences.
Mm.
Don't micromanage. And delegating tasks means people can make mistakes.
Mm.
We always say at Sportsnet TV, it's okay to make mistakes,
Mm.
but just share what the mistake was with your
Mm.
peers, and
Mm.
let's learn all together from the mistake.
Yeah,
Now,
and also from that perspective, you're not operating as a leader from fear, because I think that's the biggest thing is there are some leaders that operate from a place of fear, and then that makes the people that work for them fearful of making a mistake, and that leads to dishonesty. I don't know if that's your perspective, but I think that is a big
that means fear doesn't work. Fear just freezes people.
mm,
Fear stops innovation. You
mm,
you want people in your team that first of all can tell you no. I don't think it's a good idea. And
mm,
I don't want people, I don't want yes women or yes men or yes people. It's
mm,
important that if you come up with an idea and they say, you know what, I
mm,
don't think it's a good idea, they should not be fearful to tell you. And that's very important.
mm.
When you delegate, everybody makes mistake. I always say that if you don't make a mistake, that means you didn't try hard enough or you didn't try at all. And if you
Yes.
remember what I was saying at the beginning about managers, they don't want to innovate that much because they might be fearful for their, positions.
Mm.
In a young company, it should be at really any company. It's like innovation, that's what brings you forward,
100%.
and if you don't innovate, if you don't find new ways, and by the only way to find new ways is to mess up. If you mess up once in a while, but then you learn from it and you share it. So we really we have this company culture, and you know, we have a logging list of messes, you know, that we had, or, you know, mistakes, where we share. We say, okay, you know, I made that mistake. I paid too
Mm.
much for this ad, or, you know, I made a mistake during the production, and then we
Mm.
all learn, and that
Yeah,
stays, you know, within the company. That's very important.
absolutely. So, Sportshead TV has grown and has more than 1 million followers on social media, which is remarkable for a young company. So, please expand on this and share how you achieved this, because that's not an
Yes.
easy task.
No, and you have the easy way of people trying to buy fake followers, and we are approached every day by people
Oh,
telling,
100%. It's terrible.
don't never do that.
No.
So the number is important, but moreover, the engagement is very important. We have an
Yes.
engagement rate over 4%. So
Wow.
what you have to do is to create value,
Mm.
good content, and, you know, and share the content. And when people start liking your content and they find the value, they will
Mm.
follow you, and they will unfollow you as well if you don't keep, you know, if you stop doing
Yeah,
it.
if you don't keep that up. Yeah.
Yes. So very, very important is the quality of what you share, to stay within this quality, and that's how you grow. I mean, it took us 4 years to get to 1 million, and all these people, and we are very thankful, are people who decided to follow us, you know, and they
Yes.
are very engaged. Patience, and sometimes luck. You know, sometimes we put a video. We put recently a video up that had almost 20 million views. So you need some luck as well. Now,
Absolutely.
what we did, and that's very important, is we were very focused on the social media of the sports we cover. That means tennis, we have Instagram, TikTok,
Mm.
Facebook for tennis. Same for pickleball, same for soccer, same for taekwondo. We don't aggregate everything under one umbrella.
Yeah,
So we
that's
are,
smart. That's very
yes,
smart. Yeah.
because if I'm interested in soccer, I'm not gonna maybe care about, you know, pickleball, and I'm not gonna be that engaged. So we decided it's more work. It's, you know, it's a lot of disciplines. It's more content to be created, but that's what we decided to do. So when you go on Sportsnet TV and you do a search on social media, it's going to be, you know, 1 million spread over the different sports and different platforms. And then you have content for different type of audiences. You know, like TikTok is younger, Facebook is
Mm.
older, so we don't post the same necessarily.
Amazing. So, Victor, you mentioned this earlier, but you're also a former junior level national ranked weightlifter. Do you believe that from a young age that also influenced your entrepreneurial path?
I don't know for the entrepreneurial path, but for the discipline,
Yes.
for, you know, it's proven. There are many studies showing that sports at a very young age, in a team, individual sports, is very good for, you know, success in life. Now you can define success by, you know, many factors.
Mm.
I'm not saying being an entrepreneur means success, but, you know, yes, I believe sports is crucial, but for all the reasons I mentioned before.
Yeah, absolutely. So that leads me to the pandemic, which obviously turned all our lives upside down, professionally and personally. So, can you share with us how this impacted you and whether it created opportunities for you in your business? And what did you do not only for your business, but for your mental health? And can you give us any examples?
Oh, we are lucky because we're based in Miami,
Yes.
you know, sunshine
Yeah.
state, and Florida was pretty open. So uh, on the personal level, we were able to, you know, have the office and work
Yeah. And
together,
move around.
move around. That was important, and that was good.
Yeah.
From a business point of view, you know, I joined as full-time CEO in June 2020. So
Yeah.
that was just in the middle of the pandemic. In one side, it was okay because, you know, we had to start all the foundation. We
Mm.
are a little bit delayed on some filming projects because we needed people to be able to to be together so we could, we could film the teams, and that was very challenging at the very beginning. So we had some delayed. And on the other side, people were saying, well, I go online and I learn online. So,
Yes,
companies like Zoom really flourish,
of course.
during the pandemic.
Yeah.
That was good. But at the same time, if you cannot play sports, why would you like to learn how to play sports? So that was a challenging time. But we set up all the foundations. We were able to still film because we're in Florida. And I'm not a big believer in remote teams. I believe that teams should be together. And because we're in the right state, we're able to do that as well. So we are impacted, but not too much. I think the biggest delay was looking for capital, looking for investors. Doing it on Zoom is extremely difficult. You have a
100,
connection.
it's so hard.
Oh,
So
I
hard.
mean, you and I met in Miami, and we met several times before. You spend a few hours with someone, you develop a different type of connection than,
Absolutely. The human connection goes
yes.
without say. It is the best way of doing things.
So
So
where we suffered the most maybe was, finding the partners and potential investors because it was difficult to meet in person.
yes.
Yes.
So that leads me to the final question. So what are the 3 key pieces of advice you would give to other entrepreneurs? And what legacy would you like to leave, or how would you like to be remembered? Because some people don't like the word legacy. So
Well, legacy, the the first thing is, passion.
yes.
If you don't have the passion, if you don't have passion for what you do, you're not going to be successful. It's extremely hard. You don't sleep much. Years and years and years to be successful. So, people look at entrepreneurs and say, wow, look at Google, look at Facebook, they made it and they made so much money.
Oh yeah. It's decades of work. It's not a 5 minutes.
No, it's a marathon. So be ready. That's the second advice, is be ready for a marathon. And don't sprint all the time, because if you sprint all the time, you're going to be dead. So take your time, and take your time to really think about what the next step's going to be, and listen to experienced people.
Oh, 100%.
Yes, that's what I said before, So really try to surround yourself. That's going to be the third advice. Surround yourself with great advisors, people who have done it before, people who know the industry, and then go for it, and don't overthink. If you are, it depends on what entrepreneurship you are doing, but let's say you're in, on online, launch it, launch it, test it. There's no better testing than the market. So have your, minimum viable product, test it, and get the market feedback as quickly as possible. Don't try to overdo it by having the perfect product. Perfection can
doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist, but can kill you,
Yeah.
and so, launch it. That's one thing. My legacy is, if I always look at my kids, and I'm going to hopefully look at my grandchildren, but if I can be remembered as somebody who has helped change the world to be a better place, that's, for me, the most important legacy I can leave. And I don't need a legacy with millions of people. I just want the people who are going to remember what I did, saying, oh, he was a good guy.
Yeah.
And he did good stuff, for a better world. That's all I want.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Well, thanks for joining us today. So if people want to get in contact with you, what are the best platforms to do so?
LinkedIn, my last name, Bergonzoli. They can reach me on LinkedIn. And of course, they can go on sportsedtv.com and find us here. They can friend me on our, platform if they want to have some advice on sports and weightlifting.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Victor. And hopefully we can have
Thank
you
you,
back in the
Karen.
future to see where you are in your sports ed and entrepreneurial journey.
Thank you, Karen. It was a real pleasure. Thank you.